Hi everybody, welcome to Simply Scuba and welcome to Ask Mark, where I spend a bit of time elaborating on some of your questions that you pop down in the comments below. This week we're talking about watch-size dive computers. We've got a fair amount of questions on beards and diving, especially moustaches, creating a seal, as well as a few others. But if you have any questions that you want me to elaborate on, let me know down in the comments below. If you use the hashtag AskMark in your question, makes it that much easier for me to find. So tap away down in the comments below and I'll try and get to them in next Friday's show. So the first question comes from Adam and they ask, hey Mark, here's a quick one from me. I wonder, could we use Aqualung or the Aqualung i330R as a daily watch as the watch-sized dive computer? So the Aqualung i330R, I mean, yeah, if you feel like you can pull it off and you've got that kind of style down, then yeah, of course you could, but I don't think it's going to be the most practical. It's not really designed as a day-to-day watch. It's a little bit bigger, or it's quite a bit bigger. It's a bit of a chunk of a dive computer to wear as like a day-to-day wristwatch. It's not going to have a lot of the features as like continuous sort of date and time reading to like physically look at your wrists. A lot of these they go to sleep quite quickly. It's basically a small large screen dive computer, and because it's color screen as well, that's going to be using quite a lot of battery power. So after a couple minutes you'll find it will just start to go into like the sleep mode. So no, I wouldn't really wear it as a wristwatch. You can, there will be a time function on there, but it's not going to be its like primary surface mode. So no, I'd try and pick something different. Second question comes from Chris. Chris asks, I'm looking into getting myself a dive watch, but there are so many brands out there on the market. Yes, there's quite a few different brands out there. Which company would you recommend for a recreational diver? I've been looking at the Aqualung i470. So yeah, there are quite a few dive computer brands out there. Aqualung, definitely one of the biggest. They were one of the first, and they're still going, so they're definitely doing something right. Their dive computers are basically made by Pelagic, which is a huge brand. You'll see Pelagic technology inside of a lot of different dive computers around there on the market. But yeah, the i470, very, very nice, relatively new. They have the 200 if you want something a bit more basic. Shearwater is the usual go-to brand for dive computers. They do have a watch-style dive computer in the Terric. For recreational diving, it'll do perfectly fine, but there's a lot of additional features, a lot of technical diving stuff inside of that, which you end up paying for. So if you're never going to go into sort of technical diving, it might be a bit much, sort of too much sort of for you. Cressy, Mares, great Italian brands. The Mares Smart dive computer, incredible, very, very popular dive computer because it's nothing overly fancy. It does exactly what you need it to for some pretty advanced diving, but none of the sort of the additional stuff that you're never going to use. And it comes in a bunch of funky different colors as well. Sunto, one of the big brands out there. A lot of the people they still think the algorithm is quite conservative, which it can be in some circumstances, but actually the new RGBM is actually pretty good. But yeah, if you've got your eyes on the Aqualung i470, then yeah, that's a very nice dive computer. It's going to be very similar to the sort of oceanic dive computers, so the kind of geo range, but yeah, it'll definitely do the job for a lot of diving, all the way up to like instructor level easily. I'd be quite happy diving with the i470, and yeah, Aqualung, lovely brand, and they got a nice app as well. I know it sounds silly, but a lot of dive computers, you connect them to apps nowadays, and the Aqualung one is actually very intuitive. It connects via Bluetooth to your dive computer, so if you do end up going onto something like Nitrox, you analyze it before every dive, and if you have to change it, you either have to do it on the computer, trying to remember how to navigate it, or you literally do it on your phone and just hit sync. So yeah, Aqualung app is great for that. Thomas asks, hi Mark, do you know why diagonal rear zippers make donning easier? So You'll notice on, especially on our website, simplyscuba.com, we sort of break these down, looking at sort of wetsuits and dry suits, but now we're looking at wetsuits. You either get front entry or rear entry, and then you either get just straight or a diagonal zipper. Straight zippers, they do the job, but they're very symmetrical, so it's equally awkward to get both sides in, and you almost have to do it at the same time and then zip it up. Whereas a diagonal zipper, one side is much easier because it's asymmetrical. It's a lot easier to get in, and then you have, because you're kind of 1/3 in already, it's a bit easier to get the harder side in as well. So that's why a lot of manufacturers are kind of creating that option where you can have a diagonal zipper. There's a few other benefits. The main one being is that if you're wearing a BCD, if it's straight down your spine, you've got that rigid plastic zipper. The weight of the cylinder kind of pushing down on that with the back plate, that can get uncomfortable. You often get padding underneath it, but on thinner wetsuits, it tends to be a little thinner, obviously. So the plastic ends up sort of over time just digging into your back, which can be quite uncomfortable. Whereas if you have a diagonal zipper, it just kind of dances straight across your spine, so it's not quite as uncomfortable. And also as a fact of sort of just allowing sort of water in. But there's quite a few, they've been experimenting with all sorts of different like C-zips. We're seeing more and more of those coming from like the surfing side of things. So you only get a small zipper sort of across your chest, not all the way across like a semi-dry, but just a short half zip. They're quite funky, but yeah, that kind of diagonal zipper, like with my dry suit, it basically allows you to get one side in pretty well first, quite easily, and then you're already in to get the other half in, so that just makes your life a little bit easier. Ahmed Kaki has two questions actually. The first one is, what is the best mask you can get for a guy with a moustache and a beard? Most masks leak. Also, any advice on creating a better seal without shaving? Lots of love from Saudi Arabia, lots of love from the United Kingdom. Yeah, so I do actually have a completely separate video just on this subject. If I can find it, it'll sort of pop up in the corner. So yeah, the first thing is that you can get a mask that sort of fits and seals a bit better. I dive with the Atomic Aquatics Venom Frameless Mask. It has a very soft, they call it the gummy bear seal, where the actual bit of the mask skirt that's touching your face is much softer. So it actually molds kind of around your moustache much better. And I just find that's just more effective. You do get them in the Mara's liquid skin skirts. It has a much softer silicone as well. So that style of mask, either something with Mara's liquid skin or Atomic Aquatics, their gummy bear seal, just makes it a bit more effective. One other thing that I found helps is a bit of beard balm. Try and avoid beard oils because that just kind of disappears as soon as it gets wet. Whereas the beard balm, you can kind of smear a little bit, and that just helps to just create that seal and slow the water from getting in. So that's my main sort of advice, especially if you don't want to shave anything away. The second question, similar, but we're looking at full face masks. Ahmed again, I just started diving with a full face mask. The experience so far has been amazing, especially in the Red Sea. The field of vision and no fogging on the lens is one of the reasons I switched. I just have one problem with diving full face, and it's water leaking into my chin area because of my beard. I have a similar beard to you. Any advice? By the way, no way I'm going to shave the beard. Yeah, don't shave the beard. So yeah, so full face masks, if anyone sort of doesn't know or can't imagine, covers your entire face, and they are self-defogging, which is a great feature. When the air comes in, it actually rushes over the actual lens and then into your nose or mouth when you breathe in, so it actually defogs itself. So that's a wonderful sort of feature of them. They do tend to have slightly wider seals all the way around your face, but yeah, if you do have facial hair, you are going to struggle to get a seal on that. Beard balm, I don't think is going to help with that. You have a couple options. The first one is a full face mask hood. There aren't too many out there, but there are some if you search hard enough. It's basically a neoprene hood, and instead of having the glide skin on the inside, it has the glide skin on the outside and I suppose on the inside, so it's on both sides. So you have a smooth sealing surface, and the full face mask goes over the top of that and seals over that. So that's one option. They're usually going to be sort of 5, maybe 7 mil hoods, so more for colder waters, but if you're diving in warm waters, it's not going to be the end of the world. You might just have some weird tan lines if you spend too much time on the surface. If you want something thinner, you can find latex hoods. These are more designed for dry suits, if you're diving in some really horrible conditions and you really want to isolate so that the water doesn't even get to your face. They're just soft, very thin latex. You pull it over and it's basically skin tight, and it just seals all the way around your face, and then the full face mask seals onto that. So that will probably be my best advice with that. Otherwise, it's unfortunate. You just kind of have to get used to it. It's not the end of the world, because every time you exhale, it's right next to the purge valve, so it just pushes out of the bottom. But yeah, it is never a nice sensation having water just kind of below your mouth. So maybe one of those could help. Another Ahmed Sultan asks, hello please, I have a question. Can this wetsuit protect me from drowning because I cannot swim? And was 3mm good or not? So this one I kind of have to be careful with, because I don't want this advice to sort of end up hurting anybody basically, but you do have to be very careful. And neoprene wetsuits, whilst they will help you, they are buoyant, so they do make you float. You shouldn't really use them as a buoyancy aid or some kind of life preserver, because it's in no way what they're made for. They will help you to float, and a lot of sort of open water swimmers will wear neoprene, and they have specific sections of thicker neoprene to help them float where they need to help with their buoyancy. But they shouldn't be used if you don't know how, if you cannot swim. No, basically you want something proper, like an actual life jacket, because the way life jackets are designed is so that you float on your back. The human body, especially an unconscious human body, tends to float face down, which is obviously the worst thing if you're unconscious. Whereas if you're wearing a proper life jacket, then it'll sort of lay you on your back, so at least your airways have the best chance of being out of the water. So whilst a wetsuit would help, and the thicker the neoprene, the more buoyant it's going to be, so the more you're going to float, I wouldn't have that as my only sort of buoyancy aid. I'd have something that's specifically designed to be a buoyancy aid, like a life jacket, just to be on the safe side. But yeah, a wetsuit, it will make you float. And if you're just wearing a wetsuit, you should float on the surface, but no, I wouldn't recommend, and they shouldn't be used in that way. It's really not what neoprene wetsuits are designed for. So no, I'd get something proper. So there are a few questions answered. If you have any questions that you want me to spend some time on, let me know down in the comments below. If you use the hashtag AskMark, it makes it a little bit easier for me to find them, because we get quite a few comments down in the YouTube section. But yeah, let us know down in the comments below. Thank you for watching, everybody. Thank you for asking all of your questions. Hopefully I answered them. If not, yeah, again, let me know down in the questions or the comments below, and I can elaborate on them. Don't forget to check out simplyscuba.com. We do sell some pretty interesting scuba diving stuff. Thank you for watching, and of course, safe diving.